Cristiano Ronaldo, the CU. That explosive jump, the mid-air spin, the thunderous roar. Ronaldo's celebration is arguably the most imitated move in sports history. But here's what most people don't know. It started almost by accident during a pre-season match against Chelsea in 2013. Ronaldo claims the CU chant evolved from fans at the Bernabeu, but the athletic leap? That came from his obsession with sports performance, self-image, and the art of visual dominance. He wanted something that displayed control, energy, and personal authority while the crowd was still processing what they'd witnessed. The 180-degree rotation isn't random choreography. It's a non-verbal signature, a way of marking territory in front of millions. Now, both children and adults across continents jump and scream without knowing a single other Portuguese word. It's more than a celebration, it's branding through motion, the physical embodiment of ambition and self-belief. Lionel Messi, pointing to the sky. While Ronaldo commands the crowd, Messi speaks to someone unseen. Each time he points upward, he's talking to his grandmother Celia, the woman who believed in him before the world did. She took him to every training session, convinced he'd make it despite his growth issues. When she passed before his career took off, Messi made a silent promise. Every goal would be for her. There's no posturing here, no theatricality, just a man fulfilling a childhood vow under the weight of a billion eyes. The beauty of it lies in restraint, how silence can sometimes speak louder than triumph. It's a ritual of remembrance, an anchor to humility amid global worship. Kylian Mbappe, crossed arms. Mbappe's celebration looks effortlessly smug. Arms folded, chin slightly raised, as if he's just beaten the game of life. The move, however, started as a joke. His younger brother Ethan used to do it while playing FIFA. One day, Kylian copied him on the pitch. The cameras caught it, and within hours it became a global gesture of swagger. What began as sibling banter turned into a symbol of generational confidence, the kind that thrives on both speed and self-awareness. The celebration isn't about arrogance. It's about belonging to a new era, one that values individuality as much as excellence. Mbappe doesn't celebrate the goal, he celebrates the standard. Erling Haaland, the meditation. Picture this. You've just scored against PSG, and instead of running wild, you sit cross-legged in the grass, eyes closed, surrounded by chaos. Haaland's meditation pose wasn't just trolling, it was theatrical calm in the middle of combat. He said it represented focus and composure, but the real brilliance lies in its irony. While defenders lose control, he reminds them he's already mastered it. It's emotional intelligence disguised as arrogance, and it infuriates opponents precisely because it's unreactive. When PSG mocked him by copying the pose after eliminating Dortmund, they unknowingly confirmed how powerful that image had become. Haaland's stillness went viral. Stillness, in an age addicted to chaos, is rebellion. Dele Alli, the Delhi Challenge. Before the fame faded, Dele Alli gave us a moment of pure 2010s chaos. The hand-over-eye gesture that confused half the planet. What started as a casual trick among friends became a social phenomenon. Within hours, kids were contorting their fingers and posting tutorials. The beauty of it was in its cultural randomness. A meme born on a football pitch and raised by the internet. Alli didn't plan it, it happened to him. At his peak, that carefree playfulness mirrored his game. Spontaneous, joyful, untamed. Looking back, the gesture now feels bittersweet. A symbol of youth, creativity, and how fast a generation moves on. Paul Pogba, the dab. The dab began in Atlanta hip-hop clubs, not football fields. But when Pogba brought it to Old Trafford, it instantly became part of football's modern identity. He wasn't trying to follow trends, he was living out his love for music, movement, and self-expression. To Pogba, football wasn't just a sport, it was a performance where rhythm met responsibility. Critics called it immature, fans called it entertaining. But the truth is, Pogba was doing something few athletes dared, merging sport with street culture, bridging continents through charisma. The dab became shorthand for joy, personality, and the freedom to celebrate yourself without apology. Peter Crouch, the robot. At 6'7", Peter Crouch looked like someone assembled a footballer from spare parts. So when England played Jamaica in 2006 and Crouch scored, then immediately launched into the most awkward robot dance football had ever witnessed, it was perfect self-awareness. The move came from a teammate's dare, harmless dressing room humor that spiraled into legend. Crouch, never one to take himself too seriously, delivered something so stiff and uncomfortable it became unintentionally brilliant. The robot wasn't about rhythm or style, it was about leaning into imperfection, turning self-mockery into charm. Here was a Premier League striker embracing his awkwardness in a sport built on ego. Fans loved it because it felt human. Years later, Crouch admitted he grew tired of it, but by then, the damage, or the magic, was done. Sometimes you create something so wonderfully ridiculous that it outgrows you. The robot became a celebration of humor, humility, and the rare confidence to not care how you look doing it. Eric Cantona, the King's stance. Eric Cantona didn't celebrate goals. He acknowledged them, the way a monarch might acknowledge applause. The collar up, arms spread wide, chest out, chin lifted toward the sky. No smile, no roar. Just silent confirmation of his superiority. Cantona's celebration wasn't arrogance, it was theatre, a carefully crafted moment of psychological command, where stillness said more than motion ever could. His personality was pure contradiction, a philosophy student trapped in a fighter's body. He'd quote existentialism one day, then kung fu kick a fan the next. The stance mirrored that tension, poetic yet dangerous, spiritual yet confrontational. And it worked because Cantona didn't need approval, he only needed acknowledgement. For 80 minutes he could vanish, then one strike, one glare, and the entire match became about him. The performance of a man who understood that control isn't shouted, it's felt. Lionel Messi, the shirt at the Bernabeu. April 2017, Barcelona 2-2, Real Madrid. 92nd minute, Messi scores the winner at the Santiago Bernabeu and does something utterly out of character. He rips off his shirt and holds it aloft to the Madrid crowd, name facing forward, defiant and divine. It wasn't a celebration, it was a message. For a player defined by humility, this was a rare glimpse of rage and emotional release after years of comparison and criticism. The context was boiling. Madrid had back-to-back Champions Leagues. The Ronaldo versus Messi rivalry had turned tribal. Pundits said he disappeared in big games. That night, he gave them an answer so clear it didn't need words. The image went everywhere, Messi's body dwarfed by 80,000 stunned fans, yet completely in control of them. It was identity made visible, a man reclaiming authorship of his own story in enemy territory. Even his stillness felt loud. The yellow card was worth every second of silence that followed. Cristiano Ronaldo, the calma. If Messi's shirt was a scream, Ronaldo's calma was a whisper that cut deeper. March 2012, Camp Nou. Real Madrid down 1-0 in El Clasico. Ronaldo scores twice. After the second, he slows to a walk, glides toward the corner flag, palms down, calma, calma. It wasn't directed at his teammates, it was directed at 90,000 hostile fans, their chants fading into disbelief. The gesture wasn't celebration, it was psychological control in motion. Confidence distilled into a single, deliberate rhythm. Ronaldo wasn't silencing them, he was showing them that noise couldn't touch him. There's something almost cinematic about that poise, the villain who doesn't flinch while the world burns around him. And what made it legendary was consistency. He didn't just talk calm, he embodied it. That night, Ronaldo didn't just win the match, he mastered its tempo, and everyone inside it. Bebeto, the baby rock. The 1994 World Cup in the US gave us one of football's most heartwarming moments. Bebeto scores against the Netherlands, sprints to the sideline, and rocks his arms like he's cradling an infant. His teammates Romario and Mazinho join in, and suddenly, three grown men are united in a moment of pure tenderness. It was a time before social media, before viral gestures, yet this one traveled the world instantly. It transcended sport because it celebrated something universal: family, life, and gratitude. Bebeto had just become a father, his son Mateus born days earlier. That emotion, joy, pride, vulnerability, all came pouring out in one instinctive motion. You didn't need to understand football to understand that. It was human connection caught on camera, pure and sincere. Decades later, every player rocking an invisible baby owes it to that single, beautiful moment in '94, when football paused to celebrate love instead of victory.
Luis Suarez, the wrist kiss. When Luis Suarez kisses his wrist, he's not showing off, he's grounding himself. On that wrist, tattooed in delicate writing, is his daughter Delfina's name. The celebration started at Liverpool, a private ritual that became public through repetition. Every goal, same kiss, same gesture. Over time, it became a counterbalance to his chaos. Suarez's career has been shadowed by controversy. The dives, the bites, the feuds. Yet this small act offered a glimpse of vulnerability, of humanity beneath the fire. The same player who'd rage 1 second would turn soft the next. That contrast is what makes it unforgettable. It's the duality of the competitor and the parent, the fighter and the father. It reminds us that even football's villains crave connection, and that redemption sometimes comes in gestures, not apologies. Francesco Totti, the selfie. January 2015, Derby della Capitale. Totti scores for Roma, runs toward the crowd, grabs a phone from a photographer, and takes a selfie mid-celebration. Not an act of vanity, but of connection. It was vintage Totti, part performer, part patriot. The man who refused to leave his city captured his love affair with it in real time. In an era obsessed with moments, he froze one forever. The selfie was a bridge between old-school loyalty and modern self-awareness. No PR team, no brand deal. Just instinct, humor, and perfect timing. It was legacy meeting technology, the eternal captain documenting his own myth. Only Totti could make something so 21st century feel timeless. Mario Balotelli, why always me? October 2011, Manchester Derby, City vs United. Balotelli scores, lifts his shirt, and reveals the phrase that will follow him for life. Why always me? The crowd explodes. The moment goes viral before the term viral had even settled into culture. Just days earlier, he'd accidentally set his bathroom on fire with fireworks. The tabloids painted him as chaos personified. Instead of embarrassment and hiding, he leaned in and played the media victim. Open for interpretation, it was humor, rebellion, victimhood, and irony wrapped into 3 words. Balotelli was acknowledging both the media and his own absurdity. The genius lies in its ambiguity. Half joke, half cry for help. And that's why it stuck. Because behind the celebration was a real question, one the media never bothered to answer. He didn't run from his story. He turned it into spectacle, reminding everyone that even villains deserve to tell their side. Emmanuel Adebayor, the sprint. How does it feel like to be hunted and finally strike back? September 2009, Manchester City vs Arsenal. Adebayor scores against his former club and sprints the entire length of the pitch to celebrate in front of the travelling Arsenal fans. Chaos erupts. Bottles fly. Stewards panic. It's one of football's most infamous moments. But context changes everything. Those same fans had spent months hurling abuse, even threats toward him and his family. An eruption of raw emotion built on betrayal and pride. The sprint wasn't planned, it was primal. The FA saw provocation, but millions saw authenticity. A player refusing to sanitize his feelings in a sport that often demands emotional constraint. Adebayor's sprint blurred the line between professionalism and passion. And maybe that's why we still talk about it. Wayne Rooney, the knockout. Rooney's knockout celebration might be the most self-aware moment in Premier League history. The setup was pure tabloid gold. A leaked video of him getting playfully dropped by Phil Bardsley in a kitchen boxing match. The headlines wrote themselves. Instead of damage control, Rooney flipped the script. Days later, he scored against Tottenham, threw a few mock punches, and dropped flat on his back. In that moment, he disarmed the press and reminded everyone why fans loved him, not because he was polished, but because he wasn't. Rooney's career was defined by grit, chaos, and complete honesty. The knockout celebration encapsulated it perfectly. A man unafraid to turn his flaws into folklore. Robbie Keane, cartwheel and guns. Robbie Keane's celebration was delightfully simple. A cartwheel, landing, then dual finger guns like a kid playing sheriff. He had been refining it since childhood, inspired by wrestling and action movies, perfecting it across schoolyards and local pitches. When he brought it to the Premier League, pundits assumed he would eventually grow out of it. Keane didn't. Over 300 goals later, every single one carried his signature move. That ritual became a personal statement, a testament to unfiltered joy. Sometimes the most memorable moments aren't flashy, they're consistent, personal, and genuine. Keane's celebration reminded everyone that unpretentious joy can outlast the game itself.
South Africa, 2010. The team dance. Ever wondered how a single goal could ignite an entire nation? The 2010 World Cup in South Africa opened with a moment that defined the tournament. Siphiwe Tshabalala received the ball and unleashed a thunderbolt past the Mexican goalkeeper. The stadium erupted. Tshabalala didn't celebrate solo. His teammates joined him, moving in perfect synchronization. This was a deliberate declaration, a visual celebration of culture and unity, a proud assertion of identity and teamwork. The performance broadcasted more than skill. It broadcasted confidence, creativity, and the power of community. That dance echoed globally, showing football can celebrate culture as much as goals. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, the masks. Aubameyang would pull out superhero masks from his sock and celebrate like he'd just rescued the world. Batman, Spider-Man, Black Panther, he committed fully, blending childlike delight with elite athleticism. The tradition began at Dortmund, where Aubameyang was already one of Europe's deadliest forwards. Each mask came at a cost. FIFA regulations handed him a yellow card for every one. But for a few seasons, he turned limitations into spectacle, reminding fans that football is entertainment as much as competition. Aubameyang's celebrations were theatrical but sincere, a bridge between showmanship and skill.
Antoine Griezmann, the L dance. What happens when Fortnite meets the World Cup? Griezmann's Take the L dance, straight from Fortnite, dominated the 2018 World Cup. His jerky, playful moves went viral, instantly recognized by millions of children, while leaving many adults bewildered. Later, he added Drake's Hotline Bling steps, cementing his reputation as football's pop culture sponge. Griezmann understood the modern stage extended beyond stadiums. He was performing for gaming fans, music lovers, and social media audiences alike. These celebrations weren't meant to be profound, they were culturally savvy, a mix of sport and spectacle. Through them, he proved that football could speak in multiple languages, skill, entertainment, and internet culture simultaneously. Victor Gyokeres, the hand mask. Victor Gyokeres covers his face with both hands, fingers interlocked, peering through like a predator stalking prey. The Swedish striker has been scoring at a relentless pace for Sporting CP, and the hand mask quickly became his hallmark. For months, the meaning remained elusive. His former Coventry teammate joked it referenced Hannibal Lecter. He eats people, and Victor destroys defences. Gyokeres kept fans guessing, promising the truth would be revealed only after Sporting clinched the league. In June 2024, he confirmed it via Instagram, a video compilation captioned, "Nobody cared until I put on the mask." It was Bane, the iconic villain from The Dark Knight Rises. No props, no choreographed routine, just instant, recognizable drama. In an era of overproduced celebrations, Gyokeres found something raw, repeatable, and unmistakably his own.
Cole Palmer, cold and shivering. Have you ever seen a goal celebration go viral before the ball even stops rolling? The nickname came first. Cold Palmer, coined by Chelsea teammates for his ice-cold focus under pressure. Palmer debuted it against Luton in December 2023, borrowing it from former Manchester City Academy teammate Morgan Rogers, who had done it at Middlesbrough a week earlier. Rogers joked, "He definitely copied me," but eventually conceded that Palmer had made it his own. What makes the move effective is how perfectly it mirrors his personality. Sharp, playful, and fearless. Palmer doesn't just score, he freezes defenders with skill, then physically acts out the metaphor. The celebration traces back further. NBA star Trae Young had executed similar gestures years earlier with the Atlanta Hawks. Within months, athletes worldwide were replicating it. The ritual embodies modern football's fusion of athleticism, personal branding, and pop culture influence. Jimmy Bullard, the team talk. November 2009. Hull City were being humiliated 4-1 by Manchester City at the Etihad. The year before, at the same stadium and the equally bad performance, Hull's manager Phil Brown had conducted a painfully public halftime team talk, forcing players to sit in a circle while he berated them. Fast forward to this match. Bullard scores Hull's consolation penalty and immediately gathers his teammates in a circle, mimicking Brown's finger-pointing tirade while suppressing laughter. It was empathetic satire, a celebration rooted in clever mimicry and football humour. Fortunately, Brown himself loved it. The manager, who had unintentionally gone viral with his own tactical antics, saw Bullard's parody and applauded. The moment captured football at its most human. The balance between seriousness and joy, with awareness of context amplifying the impact. Bullard chose the exact stadium intentionally, a calculated act of performance that resonated with everyone watching, including the man being spoofed.
Luis Suarez, the Moyes dive.
Imagine scoring a goal and turning your critic into the punchline. That's exactly what Suarez did. The context? Moyes had publicly accused Suarez of diving, fueling critics who painted him as one of football's least honest players. When Suarez scored at Goodison Park, he ran straight at Moyes, arms spread, and hit the turf with exaggerated flair. It was audacious, confrontational, and entirely intentional. Suarez's celebration highlighted his adversarial relationship with English football, showing how he embraced criticism instead of deflecting it. The dive remains one of football's most provocative celebrations, depending on perspective, either disrespectful or sheer brilliance. Diego Forlan, the shirtless sprint. November 2002, Manchester United vs Southampton. Diego Forlan had endured an agonising 9-month goal drought, spanning 23 Premier League games. He broke the streak against Aston Villa, but Sir Alex Ferguson still benched him for the Southampton match. With the scores level at 1-1 in the 79th minute, Ferguson turned to Forlan. 6 minutes later, the Uruguayan unleashed a screamer from outside the box, a dipping thunderbolt that secured victory. Overcome with euphoria, Forlan ripped off his shirt and sprinted to the corner. Then came the problem. The integrated base layers of United's new Nike kit trapped him mid-celebration. Rather than wait, he sprinted back to defend, won the ball off Southampton striker James Beattie, and passed to goalkeeper Fabian Barthez, all while shirtless like a teenager in a park match. He eventually reached the touchline, assisted by backroom staff wrestling his jersey back on. Within months, FIFA implemented a rule. Any player removing their shirt during a goal celebration would receive a yellow card. A moment of pure, unintended comedy ended up reshaping football regulations. These celebrations show that what happens after the goal can be equally iconic and revealing as the goals themselves. They're statements about character, culture, and human emotion on the pitch. Hit subscribe for more stories behind football's most unforgettable moments, because the wildest ones are still to come.